Hey guys, welcome to the Roselyn Omaka Show. I'm your host, Roselyn, and I wanted to bring you guys into a little bit of my world. Every single day, I meet so many different people from all walks of life. I don't care if you're a homeless person on the corner or if you're the CEO of a major corporation. Every day, I'm learning all the different things I did not learn in school. I'm inspired and I'm motivated. And I feel like you guys should be able to see this too. There's so much negative nonsense going on all the time, all around us. And I wanted to bring a little bit of joy and plant some seeds of positivity. So sit back, enjoy, relax, have a good time. Hey guys, welcome again to the Roselyn Omaka Show. I am super excited because I have a very special guest, Mr. Rodney Smith.
Cheers.
And I think that you guys are going to be very blown away by his story and everything that he's accomplished. And if you even look behind us, look at all of this awesome collection. So we're going to learn more from the boss himself, Mr. Rodney. Hey.
Hey,
So I'm really happy I'm here. And I just got to say, you look very flat today.
thank you. I appreciate it. Just for you. Yeah.
Definitely old fashioned look. So, Rodney, tell me more about yourself and tell me more about where you come from.
So I can give you like two 90-minute tapes of what about myself. Where do you want to start at? That's the
man.
question.
So when it comes down to, obviously, I definitely want to talk about when it comes down to the alcohol and whatnot. But just in regards of business savvy, have you always like loved business, or was it something new for you?
I mean, it was something new for me. I had to kind of transition into that business mind frame just because of the background that I have and where I came from. I had to really get out of a mentality because I wanted change. I wanted more, and I didn't know what more looked like. I just know that I wanted to get away from where I was from. Looking up things, on the internet, and saw that sales was a great opportunity to be able to maximize, my potential without any type of degrees. So decided to go out, cut my hair. I used to have braids, gold grill, like all that stuff, man. My wife, my wife now, yeah, but girlfriend at the time, she was like, you need to cut your hair, you need to take that grill out, stop doing the stuff you was doing, and go find a job.
So you
And
were gangster?
I ain't gonna say I was gangster, but I come from the street area. Like I've done a complete 180. Worked hard to change my life. But I was in that environment. Yeah, and then now I'm here. So working at Dell really put me into that business corporate type of mindset. Seeing how people moved up the corporate ladder just based off of a meritocracy. Based off what you do, you have the ability to perform and move up. But it's what you put into it. And I've always wanted to be the best in everything. And it got me to a position where, it was top sales of my organization, gave me a lot of notoriety. And, now I'm here.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to go back a little bit when you were talking about specifically whenever you made that transition from, I would say, streetwear and like just that mentality when you said you wanted to make that change. Well, I'm trying to think of the way to like
Streetwear.
well, before you even switched to corporate,
Uh-huh.
before you made that switch to corporate in Dell, what was the ultimate like, I got to do something now?
It was my wife. Um, you know, I did a lot of things that I'm not proud of back in the day. And she saw the way I was living. That's not something that she was used to. She was going to church. She came from a Catholic school background, but she kind of liked that non-good boy type of personality.
Yeah.
So that kind of attracted her. But as we continued to progress and got more committed, she saw that wasn't something that you could scale. So
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
it's really not, man. So she kind of gave me like the ultimatum. It was my choice.
Are you paying attention, guys? A
Yeah,
woman, she'll change the game.
she did.
I love that.
Yeah, I ain't never had no woman like her before. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was like, you got to do this or you lose me. And I'm like, well, I don't want to lose you, so I guess I got to stop doing what I'm doing and figure it out.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, if you don't mind sharing,
Mm-hmm.
just because I feel like some of you guys that are watching this, you may can relate to Rodney. So if you can, I guess, share, what were some of the things that you were doing that you're just like, you know what, this isn't it. I mean, that you are able to share.
I mean, yeah, they can't charge me for nothing, but I mean, I was selling weed, pills, um, you know, things,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really more just because of a lifestyle that we had. You know, my mother and father divorced when I was young. My mom didn't really have a large work experience. You know, my work ethic, just because she was a stay-at-home wife with my dad. When they separated, you know, we went from being in the military to now living in, you know, an area where we really weren't used to, which was the hood in Atlanta. You know, we went to live in Gwinnett County. At the time, we was in South Carolina. My mom and dad divorced. My dad moved to New York. My mom moved to Atlanta, and that's kind of like the first time I got exposed to that type of environment. I was 12, and
Nice.
you know, just kind of learn to adapt. You know, like we were nerds, we were squares. You know, what they would call us back then, and you know, you learn to adapt quick because you when you grow up in, you know, rough areas, it's either, you know, you're somebody who is a pushover, or you're somebody who's doing the pushover. You know, and
Like, that's not going to be me.
yeah, well, I'm not gonna sit and try to act like I was just the toughest person out there. My younger brother adapted before I did. He was like 9. I was 12. He was 9.
Mm.
He adapted faster than I did, and you know, him getting into a lot of fights and stuff forced me to have to get out there and be active as well too, because that's my little brother.
Yeah.
You know, so that was kind of like the transition, and then, you know, you want things, you see the stuff that people are wearing, and, you know, rap videos, and in the hood, your parents can't afford to get it. So guess what? You got to do something on your own to go out and get the lifestyle that you want, even at that young age, and that's kind of like how that stuff started. So, um, not something that I'm like proud of, but something that I don't hide from either, because it made me who I am today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful too, that, you learn from that experience.
Yeah.
And it's like, people that are watching, that's something that young people, they can learn from. And even down to, I think that's really cool when you made that switch into the corporate world, was it an easy transition? And it wasn't?
Mm-mm.
Okay, tell me about that.
I
What were
mean,
some of your obstacles that
mentality is everything. You know, you come from a world where, you know, your name is all you have.
Mm-hmm.
And like we told you, you know, you're either somebody who's being bullied or you're doing the bullying. I mean, that's just the way it is. And when you're used to handling ways like a situation or beef, I would say, you know, there's only a few situations, situations that you can handle.
Yeah.
A confrontation. And that's what I was used to. So moving into the corporate world, you know, like you're moving into worlds where people will sue you. You know what I mean? Like they talk, and they talk a lot,
I
and
won't touch you. I will sue you.
yeah, and they will make you want to put hands on them. So, you know, just knowing like you can't. I had to learn to use my words, and I wasn't as educated as a lot of those people. So, I couldn't verbally, you know, go back and forth with them. So the way that I would, you know, the way I was
The
used
way
to
that
was
you know.
putting hands on somebody. So you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So like that was the hardest part for me, just trying to transition from, you know, that mentality to a business mind.
I think that's great. So that mentality to a business mind, what made you decide to leave? Because were you comfortable in the corporate world, or were you like, wait a second, I made this growth, I made this progress, and it's like, okay, I see the boss and I see who owns it. What was your thought process from going from now Dell? Was it immediately from Dell to this?
Mm-mm.
What was
It
that?
was a transition. So I mean, um, the transition happened with me. You know, like when you look back into the hood and rough areas of just, you know, our people, or anybody that's in poverty, you know, you don't really have a lot of role models.
Mm,
There's not a lot of people that you look up to that have, you know, corporate jobs and assets, and they have wealth. So the people that you see are either the NBA players or rappers or the drug dealers. Like that's all you have to go on. The drug dealer is probably the easiest route for us, because, you know, you can't just wake up one morning and become a rapper or
yeah.
NBA player, but you can wake up one morning and become a drug dealer like real easily.
Easy access.
You know, so when I saw the different route that people were taking to, you know, to make money, and working hard for what they, you know, wanted, and I start being involved in that, it just made me think about, you know, man, this is a more peaceful life. You know, like you don't have to drive down the street, worry about police pulling you over, stuff being in your car, somebody trying to rob you. Like that to me was an easy transition because I've always been a hustler. I wasn't a gangster. I was like more of a hustler. I was always about my money. That's the only reason that I
Amen.
did what I
No.
did. Just because I like nice clothes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
yeah. So to see that, you know what I mean? Like I had somebody that pulled me to the side when I was at Dell. He was like, man, you got so much potential, but you 1 foot, you know, in the line and then 1 foot over the line, you know, of working and then being on both sides. Like you need to pick a side. And if the side that you want to be on is over here at Dell, then let me teach you, you know, like how to be the best you and to how to be in corporate environments and speak and, you know, educate yourself. And he brought me into learning the Bible. And, you know, from there, it was a completely different process of my life.
Wow. How long was that process
A
for you?
long time. It was like 6 years.
That's beautiful.
It was slow, but I mean, it took a while. But I mean, it was just me educating, reading. You know, I educated myself. I didn't graduate high school. I got kicked out in the 10th grade. I got expelled from all cities or all schools in the Oklahoma City area.
Wow.
I had to get my GED. I went to college. I took like a placement test to go to college, and I failed it miserably. And I had to take like remedial courses, like where you weren't getting no credits. And like 2 months into college, I caught a drug case. So I had to leave college. So, I mean, I'm literally self-educated, like read, research, everything myself. Yeah.
I think that's beautiful because at the end of the day, I know sometimes formal education is the way that everyone feels like they have to go. And sometimes they may not have the resources. Not saying that you didn't, but it's like everyone has their own way of learning.
Right.
I personally love YouTube, YouTube
Hey,
University. So many amazing people I learn from, and that's where I get a wealth of knowledge.
that's where it's at.
Yeah. And I'm even curious too, with this man, is he still in your life today? Who
We
is he?
we communicate. Clint Mosley. He lives here in Dallas. He was in Oklahoma City at the time. He just invited me to play golf yesterday, but I can't make it. I'll be at the Cowboys game. Yeah. So
Hey, winning. No, you'll be in the suites though.
I mean,
Hey,
still gonna be a good time. You
it's
know
gonna
what
be a great time.
I mean?
So what initially started with the origination of all of this?
Mhm.
Where did it start? Because I know a little bit of the history in regards of during the recession
Mhm.
of what happened. Can you tell us more about that?
Um, really, you know, I moved up into the sales world where I became an account executive, which now I get to travel. You know, I have the whole U.S. as a territory, and I went out to Atlanta to go visit with some clients. We went out to go have steak, and they wanted to go have cigars and bourbon after that. At that time, this was like 4 years ago. I had no idea of anything bourbon related at all. They start having these conversations, ordering this, talking, and I'm like, man, I don't like not being able to engage in conversations.
Yeah.
So they talking all this bourbon and stuff, and I'm like, but next time I go to a dinner with the customer, I'm gonna be able to talk about that. So I came back, researched bourbon, looked up, and found that there was a dude in my neighborhood. His name is Randy Sullivan. He's actually one of my business partners in my unallocated product or our unallocated product.
You see.
And uh, he had a free tasting at his house, and his collection is pretty large as well too. So start learning about it, join some local clubs, and I seen that they were doing things that I felt like I wanted. I'm a person that's like I'm always wanting to be the lead. I'm not a follower at all. Like I am a true leader. So when I saw that they were doing all these things, they were getting access to spirits and stuff that they wanted. I felt like I could lead people as well too. So I started my own whiskey club. We started it as a neighborhood whiskey club, and now we're at 15,000 members and we're a national group.
Man, I haven't seen everybody all together since Friendsgiving 2019. I've got to go this year. And I like staying somewhere nice, but I sure ain't paying full price. I'm using the Elite Pass from Belonlay. Yeah, it's definitely better than anything I see here. Let's do this.
I think it's amazing because I actually met you at one of your events that you threw. And I think it's amazing to see the fact that you have so many crazy executives, high level positions, celebrities, athletes, and it's just crazy how you bring everyone together. And I love how beautiful that is from all different industries. And also, I know that whenever I always like to say, with all these different athletes and professionals that come to you to create their own brand, like essentially you bring brands to their fans. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, that sparked up, the Bourbon Connection. It sparked up from a lot of stuff that was going on through the whiskey community. We've been around for 4 years now. And like you said, we have 15,000 members. Any type of following and influence you have, especially, with social media, there's things that come with that. People want to sell into your group of individuals. So with us having such a very diverse group of people, whether it's high net worth individuals, athletes, celebrities, executive business owners, janitors, whatever the case is, they're all in that club. People start wanting to, do things with us. So, they introduced me to, certain people. And the first person I actually got involved with was Jalen Smith with the Dallas Cowboys. He's a solid investor in a bourbon company called Hotel Tango. We helped them get into like Specs, Total Wine, Goody Goody, kept a really great, relationship with them. And then from there, you get to meet people. Somebody heard about what I was doing. Really good friend of mine, Jeff McKinney. He introduced me to his brother-in-law, who's Michael Finley, VP of Operations for the Dallas Mavericks. Played, 10 some odd plus years in the NBA as well. And from there on, like you start doing things, people start to see the credibility. And, now it's the point where I get introduced to folks like that on a day-to-day basis.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's now normal.
I know it's surreal, man. It's crazy.
It's surreal, and it's like it's normal for you. Other people from the outside looking in, it's like how.
Man, I don't even know how, bro. Like I said, it's God not even a formula. Yeah, God did.
God did.
Yeah, God did. Yeah, seriously.
No, that's really beautiful. So I'm curious because with these brands that you created, which one is your first brand that you created out of the two? There's two different brands.
There's Unallocated is the overall spirits company. Spirits meaning anything alcohol related. And then we have two different expressions. The first expression was this one here. This is a bourbon. And then the second one we released was a light whiskey. We're getting ready to do the second or the third release of our product line, which is going to be the batch 2. So this is batch 1. We're going to come out with a batch 2. We're dropping that hopefully next month. And we're working on a few other things as well, like maybe some tequilas, some rums, and gins, and things of that nature.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Rums, tequilas will mess me up. I do have a question, though. How can people access this?
You got to be a part of Someone Say Whiskey at the moment. We're going through a different type of model that the average, like we feel like we have something special, and not saying it's any different than any other bourbon that's out there, but everything is all about marketing. Everything is all about exclusivity.
The human
and factor. Yeah, like people want what they can't have. So we feel like we be doing our brand an injustice if we just let it sit on the shelf. So what we do is we release it only through our whiskey club. If you want to get this, you got to have access to the whiskey club. We sell it out on a link, and we normally sell out of every drop within 3 to 4 minutes.
What?
Yeah, we break the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've only had 2 different releases, so I mean, it's not like we're doing it all the time.
That's still awesome, though. Yeah. So say that one more time. So since you released it on the website, what happened? The first one sold out. This one, it sold out in like 3 minutes and 56 seconds. And this one sold out in like 4 minutes, 50 something seconds. That's beautiful, y'all.
Yeah.
Marketing genius right here.
It ain't all me. We got business partners too, so.
It's a community. I will say something I always like to say, if you can do it by yourself, but you can go a lot further and you can be super effective with people. Mm-hmm. It's all about community.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I think it's really beautiful. I would say, is there any sort of advice that you have for anyone that's wanting to start their business and like they don't know where to necessarily go?
One thing that I noticed that I don't see a lot of, especially, I always try to give information back, especially to our people, people of color, because we are lacking when it comes to, corporations, wealth, and things of that nature. One thing that I have noticed within the black business is that we don't have lawyers. There's nobody protecting your business. There's a lot of stuff when it comes to like intellectual property that most people don't even have a clue about, that you can get your company stolen, your domain, the name. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that you got to protect your own asset. So, getting an LLC, most people think they want to do it themselves, which you can. But, a lot of people also don't know, when you go out and register a logo, most people register that logo. They always get the logo done first. And they register that logo in their personal name. And then they get the LLC started. Well, that logo is registered in your personal name, which when you look at from a business entity perspective, like if a business comes in and they want to create the same name and take that logo as far as their intellectual property rights and trademark that, they would actually have faster rights than you because of the business laws that stand behind it. So, doing things like that first, making sure you talk with an intellectual property lawyer and getting one. And if you don't, if you can't afford to have one, most people also don't know that lawyers have pro bono cases that they have to work throughout the year. They have to do at least 8 to 10 pro bono cases. And yours could be either that charity case they help with, because they have to show a form of it's just really for tax write-offs. They either show it for that perspective reason, and by law they have to do it. Yeah. Or you just give them a very small equity portion of your company if you feel like you have a really great business plan or business model, and you can show them some type of return and even give them a different portion of business under their business portfolio. So give them something like 2 or 3% equity of your company. They have a fiduciary responsibility to represent you and make sure your company is succeeding. So that would probably be a start.
I think that's amazing advice for many people, because not everyone has access to it. And I've seen so many different people get burned, as what you're saying, because they don't have that legal representation. And I know some of you guys want to go to Google. Y'all love Google, but the rules of the game always change.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have someone that knows what's going on. We all have these dreams and we have these visions and we want to write it down, but it's so important to how do we make sure we keep ourselves and our dreams protected.
Yeah. A lot of people get scammed, man. I've seen it plenty of times where, like I've seen somebody go on Shark Tank, didn't have their stuff together.
Yes.
And, somebody's on the back end doing everything they need to do to make sure that they cross their T's, dot their I's for you. And now, you're SOL, and there's a lot of stuff really you can't do about it. I mean, because from a legal standpoint, they took the right precautions and backed everything up, and you want to make sure that you're always protected. I've seen plenty of people start companies and have to change the business name and all of that stuff later on because they weren't protected. I have friends that had that happen. So, yeah.
Man, very valuable advice, and something that I know that I really, really love when it comes to just whenever I see you. I have a fun time networking and meeting amazing people, at the Bourbon Connection.
Right.
Can you tell everyone, you know, about why you even have the Bourbon Connection and more about it?
Yeah, so the Bourbon Connection started with literally all the connections that I met through bourbon in my whiskey club. Some would say whiskey is a free platform. We don't try to do a lot of things where we're charging members because we want to make it, inclusive for everybody. There's people that really can't afford to do some of the, more exclusive things. And we really want to make it more about the community sharing and our members, along with our private barrel selects that you see here that we drop throughout the club. But with, such a very large community, you meet people, you make relationships, and relationships is literally everything when it comes to, you want to talk about starting business, growing business, scaling, partnerships, investors, like all of that stuff. Relationships matter. So I start meeting so many people, and I'm like, I'm putting a lot of my time in for free for someone to say whiskey, a lot, and it's not revenue generating. So how can I capitalize off of the relationships that I have? And I saw a documentary called The Black Godfather on Netflix. It's about Clarence Aborn, his last name. He's pretty much like the guy that's the connector for everybody in the world, especially in the music industry, the entertainment business, politicians. I mean, he's a black dude, you know what I mean? And I saw that and I'm like, I want to be that dude. I want to be something like him. I want to be a connector.
I'm looking at you because I'm looking like, I need to watch this.
It's probably one of the best documentaries I think I've seen. And I mean, it has everybody from Jamie Foxx to, I mean, literally any big name that you can possibly think of now, back in the days, to whenever. This dude is literally the Black Godfather, and he's a connector. So I start thinking about like what he was doing, and I'm like, I know a lot of people, man, and like everybody comes to me for my connections. And someone say whiskey, why don't I just start making money doing it? Like like this can be a business outlet for me. So I start leveraging the relationships I have with pro athletes to give them a platform to be able to bring their products to the people. They've been, athletes their whole life. They've been in front of the cameras. All they know is sports. They don't understand the corporate side of the world. They don't understand like the relationships and being organized and prompt and you know really just structural. So what if we help these guys learn that, bring their brands to the fans, like we said, and then also put on an event that help market them, and then we bring in other business owners, other folks that we know throw events, and hopefully they would want us to put an event on for them, and we cater everything around a pro athlete. So that's kind of like how the Bourbon Connection got started. And, we're doing all sorts of spirits. We've done a bourbon event, we've had tequila, and now we got a Scotch sponsor. We probably gonna have to just change our name, you know what I mean, to like the Spirits Connection or something.
Maybe, because
yeah.
I'm thinking about it now with all the different, the future that's going to happen for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
And what you're planning.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking. And that's really good. So when it comes down to, I'm trying to think of how to ask this question, but when it comes down to things that, what are your favorite number, each event that you plan? Because these events are every single month, right?
We're trying to make them every month, yeah.
Trying to?
Yeah.
So is there a certain requirement for people that want to be able to, that want to be a part of the group? They want to look, any sort of things that...
It's not a requirement, but what we want to try to put on is kind of like an experience. It's all about the experience. And we know a lot of valuable individuals that will be at these events. So ours are more about the experience and kind of like upscale. We want to make sure that the ambiance is right. We want to make sure, we're dressed, to the nines, and, a place where we can come out, whether it's black, white, Asian, whatever.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
You all get there and you network with people. I mean, you've been to the last event. You've seen how they are. It is literally a golden nugget with each individual that you meet there. So like,
it's beautiful. It really is, y'all.
You go in, by yourself, and you walk out with a bunch of relationships. And you may even have, pro athlete relationships that can help you get to the next level, or just the relationships. There's, we have agents, we have, top, clothing designers, we have doctors, lawyers, corporate CEOs in the tech industry, healthcare folks. I mean, like, it's literally everybody, and everybody networks. And that's what we want to provide.
I will definitely say, y'all, everyone that knows me, I love to meet amazing people. When I say truly, Rodney has the best people that show up to his events. Like, I'm telling you, you do not want to miss these events. Very high quality people. And just when you see them and you know what they do, and then you get to find out who they are as a person, not just by their profession, it's really impressive. Really, really impressive. Great people, valuable connections and relationships that will truly... they will help you grow, and you can also be a blessing to someone else.
That is true.
Yeah.
Church.
And I appreciate you for coming. And I definitely want to say, wait a second, you're drinking without me. Okay, let's do like a little toast. It's too good.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you so much. So what do I call this? The Bourbon Table Talk?
Hey, I like it.
The Bourbon Table Talk.
I like it. Yeah.
Thank you guys for staying tuned and watching the Roselyn Omaka Show with Rodney. And we'll see you next time.